All right, today we're jumping into one of the most wild and honestly most controversial experiments in the history of medicine. We're talking about a real-life monkey head transplant. Think about it for a second. Could your mind, your actual consciousness, live on in a totally different body? It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But what if I told you that for more than 100 years, scientists have been genuinely trying to pull this off? They've been obsessed with this huge question. Can you, your memories, your personality, everything that makes you you, be moved into a brand new body? So yeah, this whole idea of transplanting a head isn't some new crazy thought. It's actually the end result of a really long and, let's be honest, kind of unsettling scientific journey. A journey that was all about smashing through the boundaries of what people thought was even possible. And you can really see the progression over time. It all kicks off in the early 1900s with some, let's call them crude attempts. Then fast forward to the 1950s, and you've got this Soviet scientist, Vladimir Dimitrov, who's literally creating two-headed dogs and keeping them alive for days. All of this just set the stage for the main event in 1970, when an American neurosurgeon decided to take the next and biggest leap. And that neurosurgeon's name was Dr. Robert J. White. This guy was brilliant, incredibly ambitious, and, as you can imagine, super controversial. He truly believed he could rescue the human mind from a body that was failing. Now, you got to understand, Dr. White wasn't some mad scientist working in a basement. This was a highly respected neurosurgeon, a Nobel Prize nominee who'd done over 10,000 brain operations. But here's the twist. He was also a deeply religious man. He saw the brain as, well, the physical container for the human soul. So for him, saving a brain wasn't just about medicine. It was about preserving the very essence of who a person is. And that belief is what pushed him to try something that most people thought was just completely unthinkable. And he wasn't shy about his goals, not at all. This quote from him says it all. You can just hear the confidence. For him, the animal experiments weren't the final destination. Nope, they were just the dress rehearsal for what he was sure could one day be done on humans. This is a really key point. He didn't even call it a head transplant. In his mind, he was doing a total body transplant. See the difference? The way he saw it, the head, with the mind, the soul, the person, that was the patient. The new body, that was just a new life support machine to keep the patient going. Okay, so what did this whole thing actually look like? How did it go down? We're not talking about a theory on a chalkboard here. This was a real, meticulously planned surgery, and the patient was a rhesus monkey. The fancy scientific name for this is cephalic exchange. Sounds very clinical, very clean, right? But don't let the jargon fool you. What it describes is every bit as shocking as it sounds. So here's the play-by-play. First, they had to cool the monkey's head way, way down, to near freezing. This was a technique White himself pioneered, and it was crucial for protecting the brain from damage by slowing everything down. Then came the incredibly delicate surgery to detach the head. The make-or-break moment was reconnecting the big arteries and veins to the new body to get blood flowing to the brain again. Once that was done, they severed the spinal cord, and the transfer was complete. And the results? Well, it was this really bizarre, conflicting thing. On one hand, from a purely scientific point of view, it was a massive success. But on the other hand, ethically, it was pretty much the stuff of nightmares. I mean, the results were just mind-blowing. The monkey's head actually woke up. It was conscious, aware, its senses were working, it could see things, hear sounds, it could taste and smell, it was even able to chew and bite at things. But, and this is a huge but, because the spinal cord was cut, it was totally paralyzed from the neck down. This new creature lived for about 9 days before the new body's immune system attacked the head and it died. And this is where it gets really dark. A colleague who was there, another scientist, later recalled the monkey's expression, and this quote is just haunting. He said it looked like terrible pain and confusion and anxiety. So while Dr. White saw a scientific success, a functioning brain, his colleague saw, well, he saw an animal trapped in a state of pure terror. This is where the sci-fi dream really turns into a nightmare. So what do we do with a guy like Dr. White? How do we even think about his legacy? It's completely split down the middle. On one side, his experiment is called barbaric, and rightly so. It caused incredible animal suffering. But on the other side, the very techniques he perfected to do it, especially that deep cooling of the brain, are used in hospitals today. They're standard procedures that protect people's brains during major surgeries. They literally save lives. It's so strange to think about.
The same work that horrified the world also gave it this amazing, life-saving gift.
And that's what's so powerful about this story. For all its controversy, for all the horror, this experiment pushes us to ask some of the biggest questions there are, questions about what it even means to be us. You see, Dr. White was convinced that you are located entirely inside your brain. But is it really that simple? Think about it. Your brain and your body are talking to each other constantly. Science today tells us our consciousness is embodied, that our physical feelings and experiences actually help create who we are. So what happens if you take that away? If you woke up tomorrow in a totally different body, would you still feel like you? Could your sense of self even survive that? I mean, who are you without the only body you've ever known? And that, right there, is the ultimate mind-bending question that this whole crazy experiment leaves us with. It shakes up everything we think we know about life and what it means to be a person. So let me leave you with this. If the tech was perfect, if it was safe, and your mind could live on after your body gave out, would the person who woke up still be you?